Look, video game studio on studio crime seems to be the new fad in the video game industry, and the reason being is some studios are doing it good and some studios are doing it bad, and it's pretty easy to blast people when it comes to sales strategy, and that's exactly what Baldur's Gate 3 developer has been doing to Ubisoft, and we just got to talk about it on That Game Plays. Hi, friends, it's me, CC, here with the great and powerful and amazing channel, Nolan Thunder. How you doing, Nolan?
I'm doing awesome. I hope everybody is having a great day ahead of them, and they're excited for the news we got today.
Me too. We've got lots of news out there, but look, I respect certain games and look, their efforts to make quality games and to appeal to the broadest possible audience. And one of those studios produced a game in the last year or so that a lot of people are still raving over. I'm, of course, talking about Baldur's Gate 3. And the developer over there said, if gamers should get used to not owning their games, then developers must get used to not having jobs. What a way to say something. October 25th article in That Park Place. You need to check this one out. Coming to us from John F. Trent. So Michael Dowse, the director of publishing for Baldur's Gate 3, is the one that's just slinging those arrows. The developer is Larian Studios, and they said to Ubisoft in the wake of the number of blunders, including Prince of Persia, which we've covered in a recent video, it's rumored to have seen its development team disbanded. Well, no, they were certainly disbanded. Yeah. But in reaction to this, to the coverage around the team allegedly being disbanded by PC Gamer, Dowse shared his opinion on X, saying the last notable game on their platform was arguably Far Cry 6 back in 2021. See, I forgot about that one, Nolan. But the Crew, the Mirage, and Avatar came in 2023 and didn't perform. So you can assume subscriptions were at a lull when Prince of Persia released in 2024, which means people wouldn't be launching their store all too much. Yeah, they weren't, because there's some ridiculous stuff. Plus, with The Crew, isn't that a game, Nolan, that got shut down by Ubisoft after people bought it?
Oh, that's pretty frequent here, in modern times, and I don't know why anyone would use their service, seeing as how, let's see, Far Cry 6, that was almost good, 4 years ago now? And
Almost, yeah.
usually, I don't know about you, but when I go to a store, I'm expecting to see several options of things to buy, as opposed to one game that was good and four other games that bombed heavily. I don't know about you, but I kind of like have a bit of variety.
Yeah, I also like to have my game still be something I can play, which is a big problem when you buy games as a service. They could be taken away from you at any moment. So what exactly did you spend that $60 to $70 on? Anyway, so he added, again, to what he said, if it had released on Steam, not only would it have been a market success, maybe, but there would likely be a sequel because the team are so strong. It's such a broken strategy. The hardest thing is to make a 85 plus game. It is much, much easier to release one. It just shouldn't be done as it was, right, on a very limited launch platform that people just seem to ignore, to be fair. Next, Dowse torched Ubisoft and specifically the company's director of subscriptions, Philippe Tremblay, for his comments back in January where he said gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games. And again, I pointed out the reasons why that's bad. He said, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to a little bit like DVD, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. I don't think that's true. All of us seem to want that, but keep talking,
Yeah,
dude. Please go ahead.
I just recall a few months ago, I wrote a whole article about this for this website here, That Park Place, and I was just showing the amount of frustration. I remember I was researching a bit into it, and just the sheer amount of memes about this, because everybody is just, I don't think I've seen one person supporting this that wasn't, I don't know, working at Ubisoft. This is just pure stupidity. It's stupid.
Well, and then look, he says specifically that's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, we never will, by the way, because of what you can do. We've seen it. You guys have already screwed gamers. Okay. So,
A lot.
yeah, yeah. So if you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. No, it's not. You guys just demonstrated that, that doesn't happen. You had a Star Wars game release, Star Wars Outlaws, where people who had early access, because of a bug, not a feature, or maybe it's a feature, I don't know. Maybe you consider it a feature, but they lost their save games and had to start from the beginning. So that early access meant bupkis to those folks because it was all erased in a moment's time.
It's just it's an awful argument just to try to get people comfortable with having limited things that they can have ownership of, and for them to cut costs down for manufacturing them. I literally do videos all the time about lost media, like things that were there to be promoted that was just on the internet, little tie-ins to movies, big web series and stuff. If those things become irrelevant and they get shut down, they get hard to find. Now, a lot of them, like especially with a lot of like old MMOs and stuff like that, the worlds become empty and they're a shell of what they used to be. Meanwhile, I can still pull out Super Mario Brothers from 1985 and still play that game with like kids, grandkids, all that stuff. And well, the Mario brand is in a much better place than where Ubisoft is.
Yeah, and that's I think is the bigger story here because Douse comes at it, and this is what I appreciate from the business aspect of things, and describes it this way: if the statement "gamers should get used to not owning their games" is true because of the specific release strategy, sub above sales, then the statement "developers must get used to not having jobs" if they make a critically acclaimed game, platform strategy above title sales is also true. And that just isn't sensible, even from a business perspective. It actually is particularly from a business perspective. You are limiting your audience severely. And if you don't make good games consistently, you won't have subscribers at all. People will never come back to the games, even that they marginally enjoyed. That's going to be a problem if you want to go that route, because I'm telling you right now, gamers caught on real fast, and it was reinforced by Star Wars Outlaws. It'll be reinforced by the crew being shut down and many other things. Well, look at what Sony did with Concord, right? That all of a sudden your game just wasn't functional. Yeah, you got your money back, but if you bought a physical copy and you didn't return it, you basically can't play it. It's right now a coaster, at least for a little while, because there's rumors they may try to make a Concord free to play, and maybe your disc will work again. I don't know. But look, Dowse's torching of Ubisoft rings true, according to the article. And his observations that Ubisoft Plus was likely not seeing the number of players necessary to float Prince of Persia, the fact that it would release on Steam would not necessarily make it a market success. It didn't. The fact that the game released on Steam in August and appears to be struggling is, proof of that. We've talked about this before, but consider this: the peak concurrent, if you track what was being done on Steam, was only 1,446 players when it released. And in the last 24 hours since this article was published, the concurrent was just 119 players, as you can see here. And how many were on at the time that the screenshot was taken? 68. Nolan, look, this idea that they're using to bolster up their platform of Ubisoft Plus is maybe something that should scare the rest of the industry. Do you think that the streaming model, games as a service, live service kind of an idea? You think that's just a poor business decision, or do you think a lot of these other developers are going to continue to hang their hat on it?
I can at least assure that it's not gonna work if they keep dumping these massive budgets into their games. Gamers are they put their foot down a lot, and they don't have a very high tolerance. People who are into gaming, a lot of times gamers, that's a huge part of their life. With movies and TV shows, a lot of people have other things going on. Family, trying to cover the bills, all that. For gamers, it's usually becomes a very solid part, and they're going to spend a good portion of their life playing video games, and it's going to impact decisions they make in the future. When they pick up a stick, they're probably going to think of like the Master Sword compared to some people who might just think of it as, I don't know, looking like a lightsaber or something like that. It depends on your, choice of what type of nerd spear you like. But we are seeing that this marketing strategy here, we've seen it be a huge disaster with Concord. We're going to see it be a disaster here with everything Ubisoft is doing. I know, like, I could speak from personal experience here. Even just going to like a used game store, how many like of these games that came out on recent systems, how much of it relied so heavily on online base that a lot of these cases are just kind of like shells. I own a copy of Splatoon 1 from 2013, and I can't even really play that game much anymore because the online functionalities eventually get shut down. And if you're looking at here where pretty much the whole sphere of your game is going to be so reliant on the internet, well, you have to think about when we get to the point where they've dumped all the money, the studio shuts down, and the game is gone. You're literally left with nothing. You don't even have like the fancy Xbox case to look at and be like, hey, I did that. I accomplished something. I think this is could be a canary in the coal mine going forward for the game industry. And I honestly think most companies, not all of them, but a lot of them, are still wearing earmuffs, and it's going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, and they seem to be wearing earmuffs across all feedback. And we've talked about that in other videos that we've done recently on the channel where the studios don't want to hear any negative stuff. They are all toxic positivity, and that's actually killing them slowly. They just aren't willing to recognize it. But one final thought is yours. That's right. We've reached the audience participation time. So check out the comments section below and let us know what you think. Do you think the folks over there at Larian are correct? And this is a very bad decision-making tree that Ubisoft has launched into with Ubisoft Plus. Do you think that these types of services and platforms are only going to limit your audience further than it already has by not releasing a game wide? And do you think that, even in an effort to control messaging, that this isn't just a good idea? Just you're not marketing strictly to the fans of your material, across the board. You need to market to the most amount of people that'll buy it. Just let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, double check that you're still subscribed to the channel. And if you're not, please turn that little red button to gray. You got to be subscribed. You got to grow the channel. We got to get to 10K. We want to do competitive gaming, and we can't do it without you. We need 10,000 folks to launch memberships, and that's all on you. At least that's what we think anyway. Maybe not. Maybe it's on us too, but help us out. And while you're also down there, hit that little bell icon and turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. And reminder, our live stream is moving from Wednesday to Tuesday, and that'll make it easier for you to find us because why? Well, we'll be connected to another amazing show, The Pro Show, and many other things will be interactive and many other things will be interconnected as we network all of the channels together and deliver you full coverage across the board on just news, entertainment, theme parks, gaming, you name it. That's what we're here for. And as always, get your game on.